This is the RECRUITECH Podcast, the cutting-edge podcast in the C region, by professionals for professionals about recruitment and technology. We are here to help professionals in the human resources and recruitment fields navigate the challenges and opportunities of finding and hiring top talents.
Have a nice day for everyone who is watching and listening us. This is RECRUITECH Podcast. Today is the 27th March and this is 2025. We are sitting in the Central European University and the occasion and the event is RECRUITECH. And I'm pleased to welcome you in this conversation, Holly. Just a short introduction about myself because it's a secret for people who are listening us. This is our very first meeting in person, and my name is Gabi Sarkadi. I am working in recruitment for almost 20 years, so I'm a senior recruitment professional, and actually nowadays I'm acting as a talent acquisition advisor for companies to improve their processes, to hold some trainings for recruiters, hiring managers, etc. And my kind guest today is Holly Fawcett from SocialTalent, and I tried to give a short introduction about you, Holly, but please add your thoughts and add your data that might be interesting and important fact about
what have you learned about me so far?
I know that you are the content director and you hold, I don't know, thousands of trainings for recruiters, recruitment professionals to improve their skills. And I know that your favorite topics are diversity, inclusion, how to fine-tune the strategy in recruitment, the recruiter skills. And today our topic will be more the hiring managers and the education of the hiring managers. But I guess you can add something about this intro, please.
For sure. So thank you. That was that's all correct. Absolutely. So I am from Ireland. So I speak with a very diddly Irish accent when needed. I also can speak very fast. So as I get into my favorite topics, I will speak very fast, and for that, I'm just going to apologize to everybody right now, because I do speak fast. My role at SocialTalent, I've been with SocialTalent now for 14 years, and believe it or not, I have never, ever worked a single day as a recruiter, which is shocking to quite a lot of people when they meet me, because I'm considered an expert in recruitment, which is wild to me. But yes, my role as a kind of domain specialist and content strategist is really to look at where we can inspire and drop in innovations and expertise and best practice across a whole kind of relationship process. And when we think about what talent acquisition does, it is a negotiation, it is a dance, it is a relationship that we have to embrace much more with every day, right? Our organizations that we work for, whether we are in a staffing agency, third-party recruiting, and so it's a much more of a client relationship, or if we are inside in an organization, that relationship between recruiters and hiring managers, recruiters and business leaders is so critically important that it be one of being equal, be one of where you are consulting and where you are advising, rather than, oh, great, you need to have 4 salespeople for this quarter, and how many years of experience do they need to have, and, what CRM system should they be familiar with? Great. And they just take a checklist and they go, okay, I'll go find these people, and off they go. So recruiters, their evolution from being great at doing tasks is now, like, especially in 2025, where it seems every single day there is a new AI player coming out into the market.
That's right.
At least one, maybe 10 every day. This AI tool will completely take away all these tasks. This AI tool will do the entire recruitment process for you. You don't even have to approve people. You don't even have to say, yes, hire these. They just show up on your door one day. Oh, you're my new hires. Great. So we are diminishing the value of recruiters if recruiters hold on to, well, my job is just this collection of tasks.
Yeah.
So the collection of tasks is not what a recruiter does.
Yes.
They find that they have to be great at those tasks. They have to make sure that those tasks are being fulfilled well. But where you can outsource them to an automation or an AI tool, we love to say everything's AI. It's not. It's just automation, right? But where we could automate some of those tasks, and therefore we move into the much more valuable advisory work.
Yeah, exactly.
That is absolutely where we have to be right now. So yeah, that's a really, really, really big part of what I've been trying to do, especially over the last couple of years. It's not just this year, to help really bridge that gap, and show up as that real talent advisor to the business.
Yeah, exactly.
That we need, you know.
Yeah, you're totally right. And I had a conversation prior to this podcast today with recruitment managers, and we totally agreed that the role is changing for the recruiters. And yeah, it's not an administrative role anymore, but the expectation from the business to have the recruiters, talent acquisition specialists are trusted advisors for them, and to communicate equally and manage the expectation on both levels. But yeah, I think it's probably you know the best that it's an educational thing. So it's an education also for recruiters, but also for hiring managers. So from your perspective, what you see, what is the challenge, what you have to teach for the hiring managers to establish and to have this partnership with recruiters?
Yeah, you're right. The relationship is not equal. Not just because the recruiter may not want to show up as a talent advisor, they definitely want to do so and they're trying to do so. But it's not necessarily being received on the other side of that. And part of that is pure and utter ignorance on behalf of the hiring manager. Not to say that they are willfully ignorant. They're not. They're just doing their jobs, right? Hiring managers is a temporary role that they inhabit for a period of time. I only have this title of hiring manager when I am hiring, but all other days of the year, I'm the people manager for this group of people. I am the department leader for this department. I am the vice president of this division, whatever it might be, and I'm busy. Right? These folks are busy people, especially when they're hiring, because hiring takes up so much time. And usually you're hiring in a deficit.
Yes.
So why are you hiring? You are hiring because somebody has resigned. Somebody is retiring. Somebody didn't work out. You are hiring because you have new and very ambitious sales goals to achieve, product goals to achieve, whatever it might be. And those goals need to be achieved as fast as we possibly can. And therefore, I need humans to come in and do that work as well. But right now, all of my team are operating at 120, 130% of capacity because they're having to take up the slack for the fact that this person that I'm trying to hire is not here. And so everybody is really struggling when we are trying to hire.
Yeah.
So the hiring manager is trying to, keep their own team happy. And they're trying to do the extra work themselves. And hiring is such a heavy administrative task for the hiring manager that they often never get trained on as being a manager. And when you do your manager training, hiring it might be a 20-minute part of your training session. Yes. It is not the whole week that it deserves. Exactly. It's not a really embedded part. We don't embed our values. We don't embed our processes. We don't embed our kind of minimum guidelines and our kind of standard operating procedures. We don't embed those in managers. And so managers are the Wild West. They are a law unto themselves. Yes. And they think, well, look, I've been a candidate before, so I kind of have an idea of what the hiring process is. But of course, the candidate only sees a very small section of that. Or they've been a hiring manager before at a different company. And that company may have done hiring well. They may have done hiring poorly. But whatever it is, that hiring manager probably thinks, I'm already great at hiring. Don't worry, I've got this. Yeah. And the recruiter is like, no, you do not. Yeah. You do not at all. And the longer you're in that company, say you're in the company 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, which, if you're working up, you're getting promoted and whatever, and you're going up into leadership roles, you lose your external perspective. And so they have no idea what's happening out in the real world, out in the market. The recruiter is interfacing with the real world every day. And they're missing that really valuable information of what hiring is like really on the outside. So hiring managers are just blind to the fact that like, they just think, oh, why wouldn't they want to work here? And the recruiter is like, because this competitor over here is doing that, because this other company is doing this, because they can get way more money, like all these other reasons.
Yeah, it's interesting that the market information is coming directly from the recruiters.
Absolutely.
At least from the candidate perspective, what they want from us as a company.
Yeah. And don't forget as well some of the activities that the recruiter is doing to even get candidates in the room. Because it's not just a case of I put up a job post and people apply and I select from the applicants who've applied. That has not been the case now for 15 years, at least. We have to proactively source great talent to make sure that that applicant pool is of high quality. And the sourced applicants are not actively looking for a job.
Yeah.
So when you get put in front of a hiring manager who's like, so why do you want to work here? And the poor candidate's like, I don't know. You tell me. I don't want to work here. I have a perfectly good job. You're supposed to sell me on why I want to work here. And so there's a complete disconnect again. And that relationship that the recruiter has had to build. Don't forget, like, fine, recruiters have to have a relationship with their business, but they have to have a relationship, like a really close relationship with their candidates. And they have to sell them and they have to persuade them, like, please come and meet with us. We're great. We would love to see you here, see what opportunities you have. And they have to be also like validating, oh, you are good at this and you're great at that. Brilliant. You'd be a good fit. It's a very technical dance that they have to do. It's very tenuous. And then you put your star candidate in front of your hiring manager and the hiring manager is blows it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we totally agree that educating the hiring managers is something that's essential. What do you see, because you have a couple of connections to companies globally, what they prefer, classroom trainings, online e-learning materials. So what is the best way to educate the hiring managers? Because the time is very limited and as you told, they are really busy. So being a hiring manager is a plus for a business leader.
Yeah.
How can we reach our goals in this education?
That's a great question, actually, because I think it speaks to the maturity, the attitude of the company itself in how they deliver training. Because every company will pull out some form of interview training for a compliance tick box, right? I want to make sure that nobody asks illegal questions. Yes. I do not want the question being asked, what religion are you? Do you have children? I do not want those questions being asked in an interview as an HR person because we will get sued. So I'm going to make sure that we have interview training, right? Quote, quote, interview training. But they're not teaching how to ask real great questions to get real evidence and then how to evaluate that evidence against the hiring criteria and therefore make a great hiring decision. They're not actually training them on what great looks like in an interview. They're training them on what not to do, not what to do. So trainings have been delivered in a multitude of formats. Usually with compliance training, it is like, easy online, like, please watch this. We can tick the box at the end and we can certify that you've done this work, right? In-person training is amazing, because you get the opportunity to really see how people are taking in that information. The problem is with training, if you think about, there's a kind of a rule in learning and design. It's called the 10-20-70 rule. So out of a maximum of 100% of the information that somebody would ever really embody and learn, 10% of it is the information itself. 20% is how I question the information, how I think about, how I internalize it and actually start to ask questions about it and map where that sits into my own knowledge based on my own experience. And then the 70 is applied knowledge. Yeah. So what I learned when I actually do the thing and get feedback and see how this works in real life, right? And I get my own pattern, I get my own technique. That's 70%, right? So if the information itself is only 10% and we want to do this in person, well, then the most expensive way of delivering the cheapest part, the smallest part of the knowledge itself is being spent in an in-person room. Yeah. So I do not advise that, right, at all. As a learning and design professional, personally, what I absolutely recommend is that the information transfer piece, that 10%, that be done in my own time. I get sent an online training or I get sent materials, whether it be reading, watching a video, listening to a podcast, watching a TV series on Netflix, like whatever method it is that information gets into my brain. I want to do that on my own time, in my own time. Mm-hmm. And I get to then ponder it a little bit and start to think about it a little bit. I want to spend that 70%, that valuable information in person. That's really important. So we advocate a model called flipped classroom. Mm-hmm. So if you think about, we're sitting in a university today, right? Universities developed this technique of flipped classroom, but they don't use it because it defeats their funding model. They have a vested interest in not doing it. So the flipped classroom in a university would be the lecture, right? Everybody remembers when they're in college, they sit in a big lecture hall with maybe 100, 500 people, and you're listening to the professor at the top of the room or at the bottom of the room, whatever way your layout is, and they're like taking down their notes, right? Yeah. That could have been a podcast. I could have recorded that lecture because it's the same one I delivered last year. If I'm the professor, I could have delivered this lecture to a camera, put it up on Moodle, put it up on whatever electronic system we have at the university, and have everybody watch that, and then spend the really valuable time of applied knowledge in a tutorial or a laboratory kind of setting to actually really learn the thing. That's where real value comes in from our learning. So when companies roll out interview training, usually their first step is getting compliance, and they don't go any further than that. After that, they start to want to test how they want to see the fruit. They want to see how people perform in their interviews and be able to see, you did take in the information, you've internalized it, now you're doing it. That's great. That's what we want to get to.
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunately, our time is very limited, so it is very. Don't worry about that. It's very inspirational that you are saying. I do believe that the combination of the methods, how we train the hiring managers or maybe the recruiters, it might be a good combination of watching e-learning videos, classroom training, depending on the needs and the time and of course the money that the company can invest. Mm-hmm. I will be happy to continue this conversation, but I hope that everybody enjoys what we have started here now, and probably we can continue. Thank you very much for sharing your experience, your thoughts, Holly, and let's continue next time. Now we are sitting at the RECRUITECH podcast, and I'm very happy to have you here, and thank you very much for sharing everything here in this conversation, and see you next time. And I highly recommend for everybody who is listening us or watch us to follow the RECRUITECH podcast in YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and of course the SocialTalent learning videos are available for everybody. Have fun in training recruiters and hiring managers. Thank you very much, Holly.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. You too. Thank you.
Thank you.